Shalom, I'm Rabbi Stephen Sachs. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. You're sitting on your couch, having a cup of coffee, looking out the window. It's then that you notice your next door neighbor breaking into your car and stealing it. You jump up off the couch screaming, "Hey, what are you doing?" Run outside. But he peels away down the street. You're in shock. Then you go pull out your cell phone from your bathrobe pocket, call the police, but before the police arrive, he comes back around the block, pulls up and says, "Hey, sorry I stole your car," and drives away. Would you accept that apology? No, of course not. If he were really sorry, he would have returned your car. The bottom line is, over these high holidays, we spend a lot of time apologizing to God. We have a whole Machzor, a whole prayer book which helps us apologize to God. But just as importantly, how do we apologize to each other? I would like to speak about another book which helps us to apologize to each other. And that book is The 5 Languages of Apology by Dr. Chapman and Dr. Jenifer Jones. The premise of the book is there are 5 languages or types of apology. First, expressing regret, saying, "I'm sorry." The second, accepting responsibility, saying, "I was wrong." The third, making restitution. How can I fix it? The fourth, genuine repentance. I will try not to do it again. And the fifth, requesting forgiveness. Will you forgive me? Different people value different languages of apology. Some people, when apologized to, want you to say, "I'm sorry." They want to hear those words. Other people may want you to try to make compensation, restitution in some manner or another. I'll give you an example. Not long ago, Colonel Oliver North was on the Alan Combs show. North was screaming and yelling that Jane Fonda was a traitor and horrible because of her actions during the Vietnam War. Alan Combs said, "Oliver, what do you want from the woman? She said she was sorry for her actions. She's already apologized." North responded, "Saying sorry does not constitute an apology." We see here Alan Combs' primary language of apology is hearing the words, "I'm sorry." For Oliver North, something else. Maybe he wants Jane Fonda to get on TV and ask the American people to forgive her. Let's now look at the 5 languages of apology. We've all had the experience, the first one is expressing regret. We've all had the experience where we've been in a doctor's office and we're waiting, we pull out our magazine, we begin to read. 15 minutes go by and we're wondering when they're going to call us. 30 minutes go by, we've now finished the magazine, look around the doctor's office, and every other magazine in the office seems to refer to Obama as candidate or senator. 40 minutes go by. Now we're thinking about all the other chores we want to do today and we may not be able to get done. 50 minutes go by. Now we are really, really annoyed, saying to ourselves, "I will never come back to this doctor. I'm going to find a different doctor." Finally, after an hour, the nurse calls you. If she says, sorry for your wait," that helps. That may calm us down. But what about this? What about if she says, "I'm sorry for your wait. I know you have a lot of other things to do today. I'm really sorry we kept you waiting." That really may help. When you apologize, be specific for what you are apologizing for. Second language of apology, accepting responsibility, saying, "I was wrong." I saw a good example of this not long ago. Plaxico Burress, the star receiver for the New York Giants, was arrested for bringing an illegal weapon, an illegal gun into a nightclub, and accidentally shooting himself in the leg. In fact, the next day, one of the New York papers had a headline which said, "Giant Idiot." Burris has a reputation for never taking responsibility for his own actions. On the field, off the field, it is always somebody else's fault. But Burris, to his credit, got on TV on ESPN and told the world that he was to blame. He said, "I am wrong. I should not have taken that gun into the club. It was my mistake, and now I have to face the consequences and go to prison." Good job of accepting responsibility and beginning to rehabilitate his reputation. The third language of apology, making restitution, fixing it in some way, paying the aggrieved party back in some fashion. In fact, Rambam Maimonides, the great Jewish sage, explains that one of the key elements in doing teshuvah and repenting is to make restitution. Here's a story from the book, The 5 Languages of Apology. It's about a girl named Paula, a teenage girl, had a wonderful relationship with her grandparents. One night her grandparents went out. Paula decided to take their car without asking. Also had a couple drinks, got into an accident. Wound up in the hospital, and she said to herself, "Okay, when my grandparents arrive, I'll say I'm sorry and all will be forgiven." So, grandparents came to the hospital. Paula said sorry. To her amazement, her grandparents said, "Paula, we really want to forgive you. But until you pay us back, we cannot forgive you. You have to pay us back for those damages you did to our car. And only then will we be able to forgive you." Paula was shocked, but she really wanted to earn her grandparents' forgiveness. She got a part-time job, started paying back the money, and after paying back half, her grandparents said, "Okay, Paula, that's enough. We realize that you are a person of integrity, and you realize to apologize means to pay back. We can now forgive you." Paula, with tears coming down her eyes, hugged her grandparents, saying, Thank you so much for making me pay back half the money. Now I've realized apologizing doesn't simply mean saying sorry. It means making up for the hurt I've caused others. And I've also learned another important lesson. I will never drink and drive again. And when apologizing to someone, simply ask them, "Is there anything I could do to make up for what I've done?" Let them tell you. Fourth language of apology, genuinely repenting. I will try not to do it again. Why do I emphasize the word try? Because you may not fix it the first time. It may take 2 or 3 tries. Keep working at it. The Rambam also explains that one does teshuvah gamara, one completely repents when he is faced with a situation in which he sinned last time, and the next time around avoids committing that avera, avoids committing that sin. Here's another example from the 5 languages of apology. It's about Mark and Jen. Mark and Jen had been dating for a short period of time. They have a date one night. They're supposed to meet at 8 p.m. Jen is at the restaurant at 8. She's waiting, 8:15. Finally, 8:30, Mark shows up. He apologizes for his lateness, and the next day sends flowers. Jen decides to continue dating him. Week later, same thing. 8 p.m. she gets there on time. 8:15. 8:30, once again, he rolls in a half hour late. He starts to apologize. And Jen says to him, "Stop. I don't want to hear it this time. I don't want flowers tomorrow. If you are really sorry, next time we have a date, show up on time." And here's a statement of genuine repentance. I let you down by making the same mistake again. What would it take for you to begin to rebuild your trust in me? Here's the 5th language of apology. Requesting forgiveness. Will you forgive me? People do not like to ask to be forgiven because they can be rejected, and nobody likes being rejected. Here's a story about Martin and Angie. They had been married a short period of time, and Angie discovered that Martin was having an affair. They went to counseling, began to fix the relationship. Martin had said he was sorry for his actions, but Angie really needed Martin to ask him to forgive her. It was her primary language of apology, to be asked to forgive. Martin said, "Angie, I can't bring myself to ask you that. I have said I'm sorry. Why do I need to ask you to forgive me?" But Angie said, "I will not be able to forgive you, Martin, until you ask." What could Martin say? "I know what I did was deeply hurtful. You have every right, Angie, to never speak to me again. But I am truly sorry for what I did, and I hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive me." So, in conclusion, those are the 5 languages of apology. But before we conclude, there is one more person that I want you to be able to apologize to, and that person is you, yourself. Let me share one last story from the 5 languages of apology with you. It's about a young man named Jordan, who Dr. Chapman had been counseling. Jordan was the all-American kid, a star on his high school football team. He was very active in his church. Nice kid. One day he comes and says to Dr. Chapman, "Dr. Chapman, I really want to die. I don't want to live anymore. I hate myself." Obviously there was something wrong. They started talking. Dr. Chapman found out that Jordan had impregnated a girl, and she had had an abortion. He was devastated. Dr. Chapman worked through the 5 languages of apology with Jordan. Jordan went and began to apologize to everyone he needed to. His parents, the girl's parents, to God. But Jordan was still beating himself up. He was furious with himself, angry with himself. Finally, Jordan and Dr. Chapman came up with this letter, and Jordan read it to himself in the mirror. "Jordan, I want to tell you what I did was grossly wrong. I want to tell you how badly I feel, how much I regret my actions. But I've learned my lesson, and I will abstain from sex until marriage. I want to give myself a freedom to be happy again. And Jordan, I want to ask you for your forgiveness so I can make the most out of my life in the future." As tears ran down Jordan's face, Jordan said, "Jordan, because your apology is sincere, I choose to forgive you." We have 8 days until Yom Kippur. In these 8 days, I want you to apologize to one person. Maybe to somebody you've been meaning to apologize to, but haven't. Maybe as you're doing your Chapman and Dr, thinking about your past year, doing that accounting of the soul that we do at this time of the year, you realize there's someone that you owe an apology to. Or maybe that person is yourself. I want you to apologize. Feel that weight being lifted from your shoulders, and let the guilt go, and let it remain in the past where it belongs. That's the power of apology. It lets us leave our mistakes where they belong in the past, and it allows us to move on to the future.